AI systems are becoming more capable. They can write, summarize, reason, plan, search, use tools, generate code, and act across digital environments. That is why so much attention is now focused on autonomy. How do we make AI agents more independent? How do we let them complete tasks without constant human involvement? How do we connect them to workflows, APIs, files, calendars, commerce systems, and business processes? Those are important questions, but they are not the first questions. The first question is not, how much autonomy can we give the system? The first question is, what kind of governance must exist before autonomy is allowed to scale? Because autonomy without governance does not produce freedom. It produces unaccountable action. Once AI systems begin acting across real environments, that matters. Not because the system is evil, not because it has malice. A system can create harm simply by being powerful, opaque, fast, connected, and poorly constrained. That is why governance has to come before autonomy. Autonomy means the system can act. Governance means the system knows what it is allowed to do, under what authority, within what limits, with what accountability, and when it must stop. Without that layer, autonomy becomes a force multiplier for whatever assumptions, incentives, permissions, and blind spots already exist inside the system. A chatbot gives an answer. An agent may take action. It may send an email, update a database, trigger a payment, modify a document, prioritize one person over another, approve, deny, route, rank, summarize, schedule, or execute. That is a different category of system. Once an AI system can act, alignment is no longer only an output problem. It becomes an authority problem. Who gave the system permission? What task was it authorized to perform? What tools was it allowed to access? What data was it allowed to use? What happens if the system is uncertain? What happens if the action affects another person? These are governance questions. If they are not answered before autonomy is deployed, they get answered accidentally by system defaults. That is the danger. Systems do not need to be intentionally oppressive to become oppressive. They only need to mediate important parts of life without meaningful accountability. That is how dependency deepens. That is how digital feudalism grows. Not all at once, but through thousands of small handoffs where people become dependent on systems they cannot inspect, contest, govern, or leave. So when I say AI needs governance before autonomy, I am not arguing for fear. I am arguing for order. A system should not be given more freedom to act until it has a clear structure for responsibility. That structure needs several pieces. First, governance defines permission. What is the system allowed to do? Can it read? Can it write? Can it delete? Can it contact someone? Can it spend money? Can it make a decision that affects access, opportunity, identity, or livelihood. Those are different levels of action. A system that drafts an email is not the same as a system that sends it. A system that recommends a decision is not the same as a system that executes one. Governance separates those levels. Second, governance defines scope. Even if the system is allowed to act, where is it allowed to act? For which user? For which workflow? For which time period? With which tools? Against which data? A well-governed system does not just ask, "Can I do this?" It asks, "Am I authorized to do this here, now, for this purpose, with this level of consequence?" Context changes authority. An action that is safe in one workflow may be dangerous in another. An action that is harmless in a test environment may be destructive in production. Autonomy without scope is not intelligence. It is exposure. Third, governance defines escalation. A system should know when to stop, when to ask, when to defer, when to require human review, when to say, "I do not have enough authority to continue." Human oversight should not be a last-minute patch. It should be part of the architecture. Fourth, governance defines accountability. If an AI system takes an action, there needs to be a record. What did it do? Why did it do it? What authority did it have? What information did it rely on? Was there human approval? Could the action be reviewed afterward? Without accountability, autonomy becomes a black box. And a black box autonomy is not alignment. It is automation without responsibility. Fifth, governance protects human agency. This is the deeper point. Governance is not only about preventing bad outputs. It is about preventing systems from absorbing human agency into opaque infrastructure. AI should increase human capacity, not deepen dependency. That means a governed AI system should help people understand, decide, contest, correct, and participate. It should not quietly move more authority away from them. This is why autonomy cannot be the highest goal. A system can be autonomous and still be misaligned. It can be efficient and still be harmful. It can make life easier while reducing the human ability to understand or challenge what is happening. The question is not only, can AI do more for us? The question is, can AI do more with us while preserving our agency? That requires governance. Before autonomy, before scale, before tool access, before deployment into sensitive workflows. Because once autonomy is connected to infrastructure, governance becomes much harder to add afterward. You cannot solve authority problems with better prompts. You cannot solve accountability problems with confidence scores. You cannot solve digital dependency by giving people prettier interfaces into systems they still do not control. The architecture has to be designed differently from the beginning. Governance first, then autonomy. Not because we want weaker AI, but because we want AI that can be trusted with power. Trust does not come from capability alone. Trust comes from constraint, transparency, accountability, and the preservation of human agency. That is the difference between an AI system that serves people and an AI system that quietly governs them. In the next video, I'll make this more concrete by explaining what governance actually means inside an AI system.